situations like tonight. So go on and give us your WWYD at abcnews.com/WWYD. And now see what's next on 2020, starting right now.
Six months ago, I stood at the crossroad of life and death by doctors telling me that I could suddenly die if I didn't have open heart surgery. I probably would have had a heart attack and may very well have died. I'm not alone. In the last few years, other well-known Americans have undergone this dramatic operation to save their lives.
I realized there was really no alternative. If I wanted to live, I had to do this.
I would find myself bursting into tears and sobbing uncontrollably.
They're going to put him on a gurney, roll him into the OR room, and bust him open like a lobster.
Stop the heart, work on it, restart it. Good luck, you're back.
It was hell.
Many of us are ticking time bombs, and we don't even know it. Heart disease is America's #1 killer. Half of us will die from it, and it doesn't discriminate. Every year, the hearts of more than 500,000 women stop beating. That's twice as many deaths as all cancers combined.
People think that heart disease is a disease of men, when in fact it kills more women.
But 80% of heart disease is preventable. Every day, in operating rooms around the country, doctors miraculously bring dying hearts back to life in surgical procedures that were once unthinkable. And even with 500,000 of us annually having our chests cracked open, our hearts literally stopped and then repaired, open heart surgery remains shrouded in fear and mystery. That is perhaps until tonight. Good evening, I'm Barbara Walters, standing in the actual operating room where not long ago I had my open heart surgery. And one day, because statistics don't lie, some of you may find yourself on an operating table like this one. Pretty scary, but it doesn't have to be. Tonight I want to take you on a journey, my own, and share with you how being wheeled into this room saved my life. You're also going to hear for the first time the personal and emotional stories of President Bill Clinton, David Letterman, Robin Williams, Regis Philbin, and Charlie Rose, all of whom had open heart surgery. Together we're going to open up our hearts to you and tell you what each of us, women as well as men, needs to know about heart disease to save ourselves and our loved ones. It's no big deal. It's just a matter of life and death. All my life, I've been in perfect health. I've never missed a day of work. I rise early, often take a vigorous walk across Central Park, and head to The View. I prep.
Hi there.
Check in with the ladies.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Da, 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 da.
And then showtime.
I always say Barbara is a robot because she's like the battery-operated toy that just keeps moving.
After the show, I race to my office at ABC News, and between my news specials, The View, and even a radio show. Yes, Barbara, you know, Mondays are always a very busy day. My life is full. I barely have a chance to breathe, which brings me to my heart and yours. Each day, this amazing muscle beats 100,000 times and pumps 2,000 gallons of blood filled with oxygen through our bodies. In an average lifetime, our hearts will beat more than 2.5 billion times. Now, when it comes to heart disease, men and women very often have different symptoms. For a man, it's the chest pain that goes down the arm. For a woman, it's much more subtle. It can be nausea. It can be just being out of breath. Genetically, there's no history of heart disease in my family. But in the fall of 2009, I went to a doctor for a routine checkup. Like this 48-year-old woman, I had a baseline blood test and EKG. Then I had a heart stress test to measure my response to increased activity. I was also hooked up to an echocardiogram to produce images of blood racing through my heart. And it goes whoosh, whoosh. You can see it and you can hear it. Later, my cardiologist, Dr. Jerry Glicklich of New York Presbyterian Hospital, didn't like what he saw.
We saw that the main valve that leads from the heart to the rest of the body did not open appropriately.
It was too narrow?
It was too narrow, and the heart had to work extra hard to push the blood out.
His recommendation, open heart surgery to replace my aortic valve. Surgery? I said, me? I wasn't sure what that was. It just sounded perfectly awful. So instead of going for one opinion, I went for 4. One was Dr. Craig Smith, the world-renowned heart surgeon at New York Presbyterian Hospital. This is the actual room in which you operated on me?
Yes,
I don't remember it at all.
I wouldn't expect you to.
Doctor, before open heart surgery was available, what happened to people who needed a valve replacement or a bypass?
The people who had your problem would die in a year or 2 untreated.
My doctor said I would need surgery within a year. And I thought, I'll put this off. What's my hurry? Still no symptoms. But my heart made the decision for me. Last spring, walking across Central Park, as I often do, with my pals Bryant Renfro and Laurie Klein, we approached a beautiful area called the Bethesda Fountain that has a big flight of stairs. And I said, Bryant, Laurie, I'm feeling pressure. I told my doctor, and he said, I don't like that.
We don't pressure, so can we...
He sent me to have an angiogram, a kind of x-ray of blood vessels, using a dye to detect any blockages in and around the heart. My arteries were clear, but my aortic valve was dangerously narrow.
Your chance of being alive in 2 years is about 50-50, which makes it more lethal than just about any cancer except pancreatic cancer.
So in 2 weeks, I had my surgery. I knew I couldn't keep it a secret, so on May 10th, I told our audience. Later this week, I'm going to have surgery to replace one faulty heart valve.
Well, we're actually shocked.
Certainly nothing we expected.
I did a lot of praying.
I know nothing was going to happen to her. Are you kidding? That's Barbara Walters we're talking about. We're not talking about some namby-pamby person. This is Barbara Walters.
I'm glad Whoopi was confident. In fact, only 2% die from the surgery. But I redid my will anyway, and I wasn't alone. My daughter Jackie was by my side. My daughter kept a little diary of what went on during my surgery. May 12th, the day of the surgery. I just wanted to keep quiet and be there for her. We got into the car. It was silent. We drove to the hospital. It seemed like we were walking through a maze. Strangely enough, I wasn't frightened. It was as if it wasn't happening to me. I also had this thought. If I die on the operating table, I won't know it. Like this 66-year-old woman, Nanita